Hello everyone, this is Legend Hunter, singular, and this is Halloween. And starting off right off the bat, we are going to get into one of my personal favorite types. And since we're doing things a little out of character, this should fit. The Ghost type. It is an underappreciated type, full of mystery, full of unknowns. It is also one of the smallest type pools in the game. There are only 27 of them, folks. And they are known for their immunities, not their resistances. They only resist poison and bug, but they are immune to fighting and normal type attacks. Everything goes straight through them. But in turn they don't affect normal types, which means, if you think about it, the only thing to fear about them is fear itself. And if that Gengar is carrying Focus Blast. Anyway, moving into Generation 1. Gengar and his line of evolutions were the only ghost types to exist. They were originally intended, as the anime and the game seem to suggest, they were made to counter psychic types. No, they don't. They had a poison subtype which made them weak to psychic type attacks, and their only moves were Nightshade and Lick. A fixed damage move, and a move which does little more than paralyze the Pokemon and do minimal damage. Moving on. Okay, so Game Freak decides, okay, we need to fix this. Ghost types aren't scary. Okay, let's give them something to actually counter psychic types with. So they gave them Shadow Ball, but forgot that all ghost type moves were physical, when all ghost type Pokemon that existed were special attackers. And not to mention that there were dark types running around now as well. So you had dark types which were super effective against both psychic and ghost. You'd think that this would kick the ghost type out, but even since Generation 1, the immunities saved the ghost types. Their immunities to fighting suddenly made them good partners to dark types, and as a matter of fact, if you pair ghost and dark together, you will find a combination that has no weaknesses, which we see in Generation 3 later on. Generation 3, all of a sudden we have Pokemon with abilities, and the number one ability is Levitate. Now they have an additional immunity to ground, one of the most common and powerful type attacks in the game. We also got the introduction of the first bulky ghost Pokemon, Dusclops. A bulky Pokemon capable of pain splitting to suck the life out of any Pokemon foolish enough to stand in front of it. And also, the ability to trap an opponent into entry hazard hell. Spikes did exist in Generation 2, but there was no ghost-type Pokemon capable of blocking Rapid Spin and surviving any subsequent attacks, because Gengar and Misdreavus are both glass cannons of sorts. High attack power, but you will take a shot and die in more or less one hit. This is where Dusclops changes the game. All of a sudden, you have a Pokemon who can take the hit, he has high defense and special defense, and he is immune to Rapid Spin, a normal type move, which no longer will save you from Leech Seed and Spikes. You will switch in 4 times. You will die. Generation 4. This is where things get really interesting. Physical and special. The split meant that all of a sudden, ghost-type moves like Shadow Ball were based on contact, not on their typing. So long, physical ghost-type moves. Hello, special Shadow Ball. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of all ghost-type Pokemon. But not all is well in Generation 4. Along with the special Shadow Ball, we also got Physical Pursuit. The ghost types could switch in now, certainly, but could they switch out? That became a toss-up with the likes of Tyranitar and Caesar running around. But, on the other hand, the ghost types are still mandatory for people wishing to keep people in hell. Because now we have 2 new entry hazards to abuse. Stealth Rock, which basically put a hole in your Charizard and Moltres by chopping them in half, and Poison Spikes, Toxic Spikes, capable of poisoning you the moment you touch the ground. Absolutely spectacular. Dusknoir kind of got nerfed on this one though, but he's still good. Now we move into Generation 5. Oh, the Pokemon in this generation. Jellicent became the first water ghost-type Pokemon, and his magnificent mustache phases lasers and absorbs typhoons. He and Ferrothorn are capable of walling pretty much anything that's not named Flyer or Quaker. Quaker's still gonna hurt now, but it's not going to hurt as much because Ferrothorn is still a ridiculous attacker and defender, and Jelly is pretty good at stopping anything that can hurt him. We also got Pokemon that were able to counter some of the biggest threats in the game. Terrakion is a monster, so is Golurk, and Golurk can send Terrakion packing in one punch. We also got the likes of Chandelure, one of the most creative and mystifyingly dangerous Pokemon in the game. We'll go into one of its banned abilities in the Psychic type review later, but let's just say that even with Flash Fire, its other ability, we have a dangerous Titan. Okay, we've come up to the end of the review, and my final thoughts on these Pokemon. Arguably the best Pokemon out of all of the ordinary types. I'm not going to put Bannet or Shuppet up there, but I will put Gengar as my nominee for the best ghost type in the ordinary category. Gengar has been amazing since Generation 1. When there were amazing Pokemon out there like Tauros and Persian, there was Gengar. And even though Lick and Nightshade suck, they didn't do diddly squat against Gengar. And Gengar's only gotten better with time. With the special attacks, with the ridiculous move pool that is accrued, it is still capable of giving you nightmares, if not more so. And then finally, in my all-time most dangerous ghost-type Pokemon, Giratina. Yes, it's a dragon type, but it's a ghost type, and because it's a ghost type, it can do one thing that very few Pokemon can say they can do. They can stand up to Arceus himself, and more importantly, defeat it. So yes, this is a Pokemon who can swallow God. Fighting moves can't touch them. Normal moves barely do anything, if at all. And you will slowly lose your health points to status and shadow. They are the spirits of the dark. They are the mystery personified. They are the stealers of souls, the devourers in the dark. And I'm still stuck in Lavender Town.